The clock is ticking on a healthcare law that keeps, well, kicking us. Hello, everybody, and welcome on the old Cavuto. And if you thought companies cutting their coverage because of this law and even more jobs because of this law, if you thought any of that was bad news, hold on. Because in California, that is exactly what patients will be forced to do. Insurance companies are limiting the number of doctors and hospitals in their plans, and that is expected to mean more wait times. But do not say I did not warn you. You might want to invest in office furniture makers. Hear me out on this. Specifically those who make chairs and couches for waiting rooms. Because as I see it, they'll be the only guys making money. A lot of money in all those waiting fannies. And wouldn't you know, their stock prices have quadrupled since I said it. I have no idea. I just made that up. But anyway, let the waiting begin. To Charles Payne, Dagan Vidal, Adam Lashinsky, and Charlie Gasparino. Dr. Payne, the pain begins?
By the way, Herman Miller stock is through the roof.
See that? I saw it coming.
You saw it coming. We all should have kind of seen it coming, right? Because everywhere in the world where there's socialized medicine, we see these kind of lines. I mean, the kind of stuff in America that we can kind of just drive up to, drive through, go in, get it done, leave in time for the Monday Night Football. You got to wait 6 months in Europe. So we saw this coming. And I just think the bottom line with this whole thing with the exchanges is get them in there, herd them in there, because ultimately the administration is going for a single payer, and so far, de facto, that's what they're getting.
And the bottom line is they don't know how to herd them in, though, right? A lot of people don't know the rules or the standards by which you start doing the herding. So it is like herding kittens almost. Good luck.
Every day we find out what a bigger disaster that ObamaCare is going to be.
You know, Lashinsky tells me that every day.
Yeah, exactly. Last week, the Wall Street Journal reported that there's a software glitch calculating what people are supposed to pay for insurance in these exchanges. And, of course, these exchanges are supposed to go live on October the 1st. So you can't even tell at this point whether people are going to get the accurate information or not.
They're not. There's no way.
But at the same time, you have companies like Home Depot getting ready to dump its part-time employees into these very exchanges. There are going to be a lot more people in them than anybody ever imagined, and there are going to be a lot more headaches and nightmares related to just getting people insurance.
You know what it is, Lashinsky, and I was mentioning your fine name, is that because you were watching and looking forward to this, it's like a wedding where you don't have the priest locked down, the band locked down, the catering hall locked down. You have nothing locked down. You just know that the wedding is on October 1. And I guess, fingers crossed, it all works out okay. But it would be like in my daughter's case, the groom isn't even locked down. So what the heck?
Well, I was going to say, the cup half full scenario to your metaphor, Neil, is that the bride and groom love each other and they're going to get married, and all these other things don't matter quite as much. And,
so true.
You know, obviously,
that's what makes you the big-hearted liberal you are. And I love that about you. Finish that thought.
But if I can extend this, the bride and groom do not love each other because you people who hate Obamacare.
Who are you calling you people?
You people are going to do anything you can. All right, so on the substance, let me address this. Charles, you do a disservice to people by saying on television that this is socialized medicine because you know it's not. The government has set up insurance exchanges to help the uninsured get insurance.
Government has set up insurance exchanges.
All I can say is, look, as journalists, we should be picking this thing apart. We should be analyzing it. But I, once again, need to be the Reagan optimist and say that in the not-so-distant future, we're going to have something better here. Of course it's messy.
We can always dream.
What do you think, Gasparino?
There's a news flash here. This isn't socialized medicine. That's a headline. You know, I think the scariest thing about this is that
it's not, though. Charlie, explain why I'm not.
Oh, come on! You just said the government.
Wait.
You just said the government created these exchanges. The
Correct,
government is
but
getting
that is
involved
not
in it.
the government providing health care. There's a big difference.
Okay, but
big difference.
I think it's not that big of a difference, and I really do believe this. This thing is not going to work, and the scariest thing about it is we're not going to be able to unscramble the egg. I can tell you, my brother's a doctor, works in an ICU of an inner-city hospital. A lot of this stuff is already...
To you?
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to go there. Thank you for trying to throw me off.
I did not mean that. I did not mean that.
I was going to say he was the first one, and we all took care of him.
My son, the doctor.
He got the new clothes.
The other, the muckraking journalist.
You got the benefit of everything.
The other one's a journalist.
As he would say, it's impossible to unscramble this egg. We're stuck with it. And, you know, I hate to say it. Adam is right in this. We can hope. because this thing is here to stay.
And another thing, Adam, you know what? You might have stumbled on something else as well. You're right. This is not health care. It's health care insurance. And anybody out there, particularly poor people who think that they're going to get great medical care when this is all said and done, are going to be in for a rude awakening.
I'm glad that you're so optimistic that the entire healthcare system for everybody is going to somehow be better because of this. Because, again, you're going to have limited choices. People who got insurance from their company might now have to go to one of these exchanges, which, by the way, 36 of these exchanges is either partially or fully run, will be, by the federal government. Last time I went into a post office, I wanted to stab myself in the foot because that would make me feel better. I'm sorry that I'm not optimistic.
The government is running some of these exchanges?
The government is running.
Is that not socialized medicine?
Well, it's health insurance.
No, it's not
socialized health insurance
because
it's socialized medical insurance, is what you're saying, Adam. That's right.
Which we've had for quite a long time.
I'm not here, guys. In all seriousness, I'm not here to re-debate the health care law, what it is, what it isn't. But I am looking at what will probably be a very bumpy start because I think, Adam, as you even pointed out, a lot of the things that should be up and running ahead of that wedding analogy aren't up and running. And I'm wondering if that means a lot of people who heretofore thought, okay, ready to go, get me in this thing, they have no idea what they've got to do. Their bosses have no idea what they got to do. And a lot of people then would technically be breaking a law of which they're very ignorant. And that alone creates a lot of problems.
The administration, I mean, on that point, the administration has already shown, and maybe we can criticize them for this, that they're willing to delay the enforcement of those provisions because it's so complicated. Right. I don't disagree with that. By the way, Neil, it doesn't help that you've got the House of Representatives trying to defund this thing that we're trying very hard to get off the ground. That creates a lot of uncertainty for people as well. Is it going to be around? But I think Charlie already answered that. It will be around. So we should make it work instead of trying to destroy it before it starts.
But Charles Payne, just to your point of that, the very beginning of this is going to be bumpy. We already know it's getting to be very expensive. But now the counter campaign in support of it is to say, well, now we know that a lot of folks are going to end up paying $100 a month for their insurance. They're going to save a lot of money, but a lot more folks are going to be paying for it through sharply higher premiums. Well, the question will be, whose base is really zoomed here? Well, let's put it this way. Businesses have gotten a free pass, all right? Insurance companies can still raise your rates next year. And it's the little guy watching the show that's not getting anything. So, yeah, it's going to be more expensive than we thought. Someone's going to bear the brunt of that. And I got to tell you something. Don't be fooled by the idea about the premiums. I want us to also understand what your deductibles are going to be. I think a lot of people are going to get in these plans that look cheap. I want the silver plan and find out, your first deductible is $5,000 and be back to square one.
Or, which we've all experienced in the New York area, or find out that your doctor no longer takes insurance, period. And if you can't lay down a credit card and pay for those services up front and in full, and then you're just not going to be able to see that doctor anymore.
Now I know what Pelosi was talking about.
Well, you're learning. You're learning the hard way.
I will say this. Be nervous if you walk into your doctor's waiting room and it's CNN playing. I would just turn around. I would turn around.